yeah, we're starting up now. Welcome to Lovelight Speaks. Today's guest is Miss Amelia Marjory. She's a gorgeous soul, and I've had the privilege of knowing her for a few years now. And she is dear to my heart for many, many reasons. A true light warrior, so tuned in, and has so many gifts. I'm just going to let her share with you what's been going on with her and where her journey has taken her today, because she's definitely got a heartfelt message for all of us, I'm sure. Welcome, Miss Amelia.
Thank you, beautiful CJ. It's so special to be connecting with you in this arena.
Yeah, it took us a little bit, but we're on board. We're going to roll with it.
Yeah, we're good at that.
So I greatly appreciate you taking the time and hanging in there as we dealt with the technical difficulties. And I would just love for the world to know more about you and what your special gifts are in this world. You have a beautiful passion for nature and how we are able to commune, grow, and expand with nature. And I would love for you to share a little bit about your calling and what brought you there, and anything else about your journey that you feel is significant for us to kind of have a really good sense of what you are sharing with the world.
Wow. I think I'll just cut straight to the chase and move backwards from there.
Perfect.
Yeah, nature. It's all there. Everything we need. All right there, right. And I just feel so honored to have been, it almost feels like taken under the wing of nature and given the opportunity to get to know it on a really intimate level, as if those seeds were planted in me and I've just gotten to experience their unfurling and blossoming throughout my life. And with each divine revealing, it's so much more profound. So I mostly work with herbs and herbalism, and that journey is just continues to blow my mind. Oh my gosh. And I'm so excited to be in a place to be able to share that with people, because they're profound allies and they've helped me. They're allies. They really helped me. They haven't healed me. They've helped me heal myself. And there's something incredibly empowering about that. There's a whole paradigm shift that's happening right now too, of the disempowering, medical system, and taking back our power and seeing that it's actually not an outside source that's healing us. It's us remembering how to heal ourselves, and that we already are healed. It's all part of the journey. So I try and surround myself in being nature as much as possible. And the doors have swung wide open with opportunities to now maybe pass the torch a little bit to other people. And so I'm embarking on my own journey of an offering called Listen Herbalism. And that's a way that people can kind of come in contact with me, and we can kind of spark each other with a remembering and an awakening and a healing. It's an intuitive approach to herbalism, which I'm really excited about. It feels time. Yeah, so much gratitude as a pillar, and acceptance as a pillar,
Woo!
and integrity as a pillar. Just really kind of devotion. I think that's a big one for me, is not devotion in necessarily a spiritual sense or a religious sense, but I feel pretty darn devoted to being my best and to moving through life with as much stoke and acceptance as possible, because we have this amazing opportunity here on this
Yep.
planet in these bodies. Like, and within that kind of reformulating, repatterning, the times that can be construed as a struggle or as a challenge, and seeing them as opportunities. Like, yeah, they're hard. Yeah, they're challenging, like, but that's where the gems are, yo. That, at least that's where I found my liberation, is moving into, like, facing those uncomfortable, icky moments and seeing what they're all about instead of running away from them. And then as I move through it, in the center is this like golden nugget that I get to harvest every single time. So now that I know that, yeah, every single time, yeah. So that's a big one. And I think that's where herbs come in, because they can almost take the edge off a little bit and awaken our cellular memories to our own way of moving through those processes. It's not a cure-all, like one herb for everybody or one approach to everybody. I'm a pretty firm believer in, like, this is your journey.
Yes.
I'm not here to tell you how to live it at all, but maybe we can dance together and help each other out. It's all about you.
Yeah, beautiful. It's that bioindividuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the herbs have a way of showing us and speaking to us and unlocking maybe some, uh, you know, barriers within us. Maybe it's about our own story, or but they always teach us something. They always, gently reveal something to us and allow us to maybe access something that our ego or our something we've accepted hasn't really allowed us to access, right? And allow us to sense and feel where we maybe have not allowed ourselves to sense and feel.
Yeah, they're really good at showing us our work or bringing it to the surface. And I always tell people, like, if you're experiencing a physical symptom, rock on, because you're there. You have material to work with. Like, it's already moved through all the other layers of existence and it's come up to the surface, to where we actually have something tangible, whether it's pain or discomfort or a rash or digestive issues, or maybe we've already moved up more to the conscious, mindful element of it. But on a scale of healing, by the time it gets to the physical, we're already like 80% done. We've already moved through it. It's like it's already erupted, where it's been laden maybe our whole lives. So something to celebrate.
Yeah, well said. Really well said. So what was the catalyst to your awakening, your sense of, like, there's something more to life than this mainstream narrative? Like, what was what really catapulted you into this way of journeying, and being more self-reliant and self-attuned?
The director of this phenomenal school that I went to, K through 8th growing up, asked me that same question about 10 years ago. And I just looked at him because he knew the answer already, and I was confused why he was asking me. And I just remained silent, and he looked me in the eyes and was like, well, you were born like that, right? And I was like, yeah. And I fortunately had an environment that fostered and facilitated and supported that awakening throughout my life.
So for you, would you say for you it was just more because you were given that nurturing facilitation, that environment that allowed you to explore this and maybe not take on what maybe some of the collective does? Because that's the question. It was more for the collective to recognize some of the key insights or keen kind of triggering aspects to start journeying within rather than marching to the beat of the drum of anything outside of us. So, for those who I think is more rare than not, I find for those who walked in this way, who were born this way, I mean, we were all born this way, but many of us had environments that were not that facilitating. So what a blessing that is, right? To have your love light being encouraged from the get-go. And then maybe you could speak more on how that led you to working with the herbs and being an herbalist and the journey that, because, you know, the journey that you choose once you know what connection is and what anchoring into the self source is, then it kind of makes the journey that you choose a lot more direct, a lot more profound, a lot more purposeful, right? And you're young. I mean, so to be at where you are, you know, it reveals that you've been supported along the way, that you've had this clarity for a long time, because you don't get to where you are being that pillar, being that lighthouse for the community, and walking the walk the way you so beautifully do without having that anchor within.
Thank you for clarifying, and what came through really clearly as a response is, well, firstly, perspective, because I could have chosen to tell you a story about my trials and tribulations growing up and the traumas and the pains. Like, we're human, we all have that. And I'm kind of over that story. And there's been this slight element of intolerance that I've had my whole life for personal suffering, because I know how rich and amazing life can be with an illuminated perspective or lens on life. But also it took some really dark moments to just like finally put my foot down and be like, I'm done. Like, this is not how I'm gonna live my life anymore. Like, over it. Like, I'm choosing happiness, or I'm choosing empowerment, or I'm choosing something that, yeah, allows my light to shine through a little bit more.
Nice.
And being really mindful of the stories that we tell ourselves, even the ones of the past, that I tell myself, because that's creating my reality right now and projecting me into the future. So it's important to be both conscious and realistic, you know, of it all, but that it's as easy as a choice sometimes. And it sounds so oh, like almost like I remember being in a position like someone saying that and being like, oh, you don't know? Like you don't know where I'm at or like what this is like, what this suffering is. And that's okay to be in those places. It's actually really important to experience it all. Incredibly important, and to be honored and seen in that. And then the moment comes. It always does.
Yeah, when we see the horizon rather than this tsunami wave coming in our direction, right?
Right.
Of that storyline or that moment or that lesson or the opportunity, the blessing inside the lesson. Sometimes we're still looking at this humongous wave and wondering how the hell we're going to get through this rather than the horizon beyond it, but just horizon is always there, right? Always there.
And that's where it comes back to nature. It's cycles and seasons. To everything there is a season. There is a season to death. There is a season to rebirth. We can't have one without the other. So to fully just embrace whatever season it is we're in, knowing this too shall pass, that's a big one for me. Even like yesterday, I was having a weird day and I was like, this is funky feeling. Like, oh. And I was like, but you know what? Like, it could pass in an hour, or I could wake up tomorrow and feel completely different. And just that knowing that it's not forever, and to kind of juice it while we have it and find out what's there and what it's like and not try and run away from it.
Right.
Because the horizon, that it will all it's just a matter of time.
And it all comes down to self-care, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I think that's why what your knowledge, what you bring to the table is so valuable. Because it is such a natural course for us to partake and to dance with nature, to dance with what is a part of us here in Eden, right? To endeavor with the healing attributes that we are given to assist us. So well, you said earlier. And yeah, I think that you have such a, you're priceless. You're literally priceless to the community because, it's like that medicine woman, right? It's to understand in the intricacies and the depth that you do can change people's lives, does change people's lives, and it allows them to become self-empowered by allowing them to become more familiar with and realize, the Western protocol, so to speak, may not have all the answers. It may be appropriate for some situations, but that the natural world has everything we need. Really. Right?
Yeah, and we're a part of that natural world. We are not separate at all. And you're right, the self-care is massive. And I feel like the self-care is an answer to the question of what do we do in the times of, well, it could be any time, a time of jubilee or a time of depression, but we're feeling that, kind of utilizing that energy. I feel really inward and I feel really kind of uncomfortable, so massaging our own feet, or just taking that time, passing the time by, I have this guilty pleasure of shaving my legs and getting in clean sheets. It's taking the time to shave my legs and wash my sheets. And then, and then by the time that passes, then there's joy. And I did something, I don't want to use the word productive, but meaningful. Meaningful.
Yeah, that's nice. Meaningful in a very personal way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's important. That's significant as well, is that to not allow ourselves to be navigated by what is meaningful to something exterior to us, but to truly anchor in what's meaningful to us. Right?
Yes. Ooh, that's super important. I'm so glad you just brought that to the table, because there's a myriad of different things we can do. And we like get all these external sources of different ideas of ways to self-care or ways to move through things. But you just brought in the element of intuition and inner knowing, which is the foundation of my work. It's all about igniting your inner knowing and your intuition so that you can ask yourself, not have to ask anything outside of yourself, what do I do right now? Or what feels right now? Does that feel right? No. Okay. Does that feel right? Yeah. And fine tuning. Is that a voice? Is that a feeling? Is that a sensation? And being able to then navigate those little petri dishes of moments into the wider scope of life, and utilizing intuition and inner knowing as our navigation systems to live the best lives ever.
Right. Like boldly, beautifully, fearlessly, on point, in our pureness, right? And unapologetically, because it is correct for it's lighting us up, right? It's what allows us to create harmony with everything else. And that's one of my favorite questions or favorite topics, is that pursuit of passion, and how important it is to lean into those intuitions, to refine and to understand how the avatar is communicating to us through the senses, and how we relate and translate that inwardly, and what is developed by it, and becoming your own guru when it comes to that, like understanding, it's okay to lean into maybe some of the uncomfortable stuff, and it's actually necessary to do that, right? And then truly live and anchor into what you're passionate about, in my opinion, is what ignites you onto your calling, right? It leads you straight to your calling. I find those who are hesitant, resistant, or unwilling to discover what they're passionate about in life are the ones that are struggling the most. And to self-liberate ourselves is to know ourselves, to know thyself, and to allow yourself to be passionate about something, allow yourself to have the gambit of emotions, so that you can find the like flashing neon signs that are saying, this way, come this way, come this way, and then your momentum builds towards realizing how important it is to pursue your joy, like how essential it is to know what fuels that chemistry within you that makes you want to wake up and go, woo, I got another day, like let's do this. Right?
Yeah, and it's hard. It can be hard to follow your joy. Yeah, like
yeah. Well, because everybody else has an idea about what you should, there's all this exterior stuff. And so the mastery to me is gracefully recognizing that those are other people's stuff, they're other people's programs, it's the whatever, it's not in here. And to honor this so that you can become the pillar. Because until you do, until you honor it, until you anchor it, until you are centered and this inner light that has been fueled because you followed it enough to have a balance on it, so you're not teetering all the time, that's when you become more noticeable from other people because you're carrying that frequency. You're emitting a more consistent availability of abundance and energy in general. And that it's usually a good vibe, a high vibe. And that allows us to have that effect on others, where others become more curious about what is going on with that one. What's going on with that one? I want a little bit of that. Like, come and rub up against my shoulder. People become that interested in your light, in your energy. And I mean, girl, you radiate. You radiate a zip code before you get there. Like, you radiate so much that it's stunning, and there's no question that you're doing something right. Like, you're doing, you're definitely holding that space and sharing that. You've come to that place of, emitting it. Do you want to share a little bit about what that maybe might be for you? Is that, what you do to anchor in, what you do for your personal, fueling?
I'd love to. For me, my practice right now, which is probably the most relevant because here we are in the now. There are many, many that got me to where I am today. And right now, it's all about being in the present moment and tuning in. Kind of what I was speaking to earlier about just utilizing my intuition, because it always leads me to magic and gold and synchronicity, and I'm so deep in that right now that it actually has obliterated regimen and routine and practice. Like, I used to, everything there's a season, right? So there was a point in my life when I wouldn't miss my yogic practice in the morning, and I would eat these amazing nourishing meals, and I would really, like, I knew the equation that worked well in my life. And now it's just anything goes, but my intuition always tells me. And so I can actually, like, take a deeper breath and experience a wider scope of life, because I don't really ever need to worry about making a wrong decision or eating something that might make me feel imbalanced or not getting enough sleep, or, all those things, all the outside sources of should and shouldn't, because as long as I'm making even the most minute decision based on my intuition and my knowing, pretty good to go.
Good to go, right?
Yeah.
I found that too. I had definitely been in moments and stages in my life where things were very regimented, right? Like, this is my, like, code to success. And where I felt just like I knew how to get in the zone, and this is what got me into the zone. And then that zone just became a way of life, right? And then you realize that there is a time to let go of the fundamentals, and because you've already assimilated much of what's the most important. And again, whether you shift, and it's especially, let's just say for this first part of the year, I think a lot of things have shifted, with a lot of people experiencing this, like, in the now guidance, like what feels good in the now, what feels most important, most relevant, or just most nurturing right now, and to lead moment to moment in that sense of connectedness. You don't worry. You feel on point because you're taking that clarity and applying it to the simplest thing. And there is zero apprehension involved with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had my own version of that for sure, where time does not exist anymore because you're not going, oh, I've got to do this by this time and that by that time, or anything. It's like literally, the fourth dimension, that time, third, fourth dimension relationship is just dissolved, because all there is the intuitive willingness to be here now, accepting, completely welcoming, wide open, neutral. I guess that would be the word, like neutral. To be neutral now allows me to just be able to like see the forest for the trees, so to speak, and realize, oh, I am right here. This is perfect. And if there's a heart's desire, great. But if there's not, it's like, ooh, this could be a juicy little curious moment where I'm like a little child again, and that inner child goes, ooh, what do I have time for? Like, what do I have, what do I have in my now moment that feels really yummy? And it goes right back down to that self-care of nurturing yourself.
Yeah, it makes sense to do. Like, I love how you put that with the foundation, kind of the building blocks of getting in the zone. There's these amazing tools that are widespread across the planet. All these different modalities of getting into the Zen zone. And I feel like we're at a place in time where I see most of the collective stepping into a space that you were just speaking to, of neutrality, or we're being asked at least to step into that space, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. we never knew. We've never known, but we had the idea that we knew. And now it's just clearer than ever. The veils have all dropped, revealing to us the uncertainty and the unknown and the constant change. And so what can we do then? Just come into a place of neutrality, live in the moment. It's okay if I stay up a little bit later tonight and I don't get up in time for my yoga practice, because it's all just going to flow perfectly if I'm in alignment. And that was a big one for me earlier this year, was alignment. What does it feel like to be in alignment? What, for me specifically, it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
What are the outside reflections? What does the world mirror to me when I'm in alignment? What does my body feel like? What is my mental scape like? What is my moon cycle doing when I'm in alignment? It's like all these different indicators. And when we're in alignment, it's a heck of a lot easier for intuition to be clear. So it could be a journey to get there. But it's a real sweet spot when we do.
So sweet, we don't want to get out of it. It could be a gauntlet, but it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So important for us to relate to others is that, alignment is essential, and it can be hell getting there, because we have to surrender and let go to so much and accept so much, and receive our shadows and love them to pieces, like love them into embracing them and pulling them back into center. To me, that's a huge part of alignment, is all these exterior mirrors, which are others, right, that are just mirroring for us. God bless every one of them along my path, and then being with it and having a relationship with those lessons and those wisdoms, accepting all of that, and then realizing there's a connection. Each and every mirror, each and every molding, shaping, recalibration, there's a connection to source. There's a connection to ourself that we discover again, right? That we liberate again. and we integrate. We bring it back to the surface, back to the table where everything's out. All the cards on the table. It's like playing that game and you flip over the card, except for you don't have to remember anymore because all the cards are face up, right? Because you face planted enough times to where they're face up now. And that's okay. And you know yourself as that tenacious. You know yourself as overcoming that. You know yourself as like, hey, I have seen that card so many times, and now I know why. And it's more of a pillar or more of a stronghold than it was a weakness all along once we understand it. So you want to play a little word play? Yeah. Did you, I'm going to pull up my list. Did you pick a couple of numbers for me?
Any number?
Any number 1 through 50.
15.
Okay. Vitality.
Ooh. And just whatever comes up?
Yeah. Talk about vitality, girl.
Ooh, vitality. Turmeric.
Years. I love it. So true.
Oh yeah, for me, turmeric's all about vitality. I mean, come on, it's golden.
Yeah.
It's a golden root that contains molecules that when we partake of them makes us vital, illuminates our vitality, extends our longevity, helps cell repair, supports our liver, which helps us digest food, life. Breaks down cancer cells, gets our blood moving, keeps our minds sharp. Yeah, to me, turmeric is an herb, a plant that a long time ago, all the ancient cultures that had it growing wild tuned into and have imbued in their cultures and their culinary expressions ever since. And they are vital. Like, look at India, man. Those are like some of the happiest people I've ever seen in my life. And they have turmeric in everything. They revere it. They dye their clothes with it. They anoint themselves with it. It's sacred. And I think there's a string or a thread there also of vitality being tied to being connected to something outside of ourselves, something greater, something, whether that's your intuition or whether that's nature, whether that's whatever you believe in, whatever makes you feel good to believe in it.
Right?
I feel like that really supports vitality. It's like an energy. It's like this burning flame of energy that we can cultivate in ourselves and also witness and choose to imbibe in sources that seem vital outside of ourselves, if we're open to receiving it.
Right.
Because people can take turmeric but not really receive it. So there's always that element of being receptive, and that's where co-creation happens and can kind of amplify the experience a little bit.
So true. So
Ooh. Fun.
All right, I like that. That was a good one. You're perfect for that. I mean, you're like the poster child for vitality.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised that you chose that one. That was the first one. All right.
Another number? 27.
Ooh, 27 is synchronicity.
This is so fun. Oh my gosh. Oh, synchronicity. Synchronicity for me is an indicator of alignment, an indicator of that co-creation that we were just speaking to. They're like little signs, little gems. Like, I feel like synchronicities are the jelly beans in the forest that are being left for us, that are like, you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it. And they're like little synchronicities are like universal, like turbo boosters. They feel good when we recognize a synchronicity. They're probably happening all the time, but we have to be open and receptive to them also. But I feel like they're a special little gift that is a part of this matrix that we live in that can really uplift us when we need uplifting, or help us turn a corner if we need a little boost, making that last little step, or just stoke us out. Synchronicities are like little like stoke bombs. Like,
Love it. Love it. It's true. It's really true.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. So one more.
44.
Ooh, 44 is limitless.
Limitless. Well, I feel like that's when life starts. Because it's really, really incredibly and almost torturously easy to limit ourselves. And the moment we start breathing in a breeze of limitlessness, oh, dude. That's when life starts, or a whole new chapter of life starts, maybe, or a whole new era. And limitless, in my experience, comes with like some Shiva energy, creation and destruction. So, you know, we create something for ourselves, whether it's a paradigm or a pattern or a structure, and it's beautiful and it's thriving, and eventually there'll come a time when it needs to be destroyed or given back to the earth, or its purpose is no longer serving. And I feel like limitlessness comes somewhere in the flow right after that destruction, where what the structure we created is no longer there anymore, and we're kind of blasted wide open to the limitless nature of what life has in store for us next.
Right. Really like that one. Thank you. That was a beautiful, beautiful reflection. I really vibe that next. Like, nope, that's not all there is. There's more. Like, nope, it's not at the end. You're at the beginning. Yeah. Really like that. Wow, thank you.
I love that game. Wow.
Yay. Yay. Amelia, how would others, what's the best way for others to reach out to you? I know you have a new website in the works. I know you have more services. Do you want to speak a little about what it is that you're really excited about offering and how it is that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I do have a new website in the making, so it's not up yet. And in the meantime, you can access me through you. So I do have a few services listed on your website and also on Dear Sister's website called ourbowloflight.com. You can find me under the additional modalities. And the main service there that I'm really excited to offer is what I mentioned earlier as Listen Herbalism. So it's an intuitive approach to herbal healing that that marries your unique body's intelligence, plant wisdom, and intuitive forces. So it's super, super customized and very, very unique. There's no equation, there's no protocol or procedure that's right for everybody. It's completely catered to you and what you need in this very moment. And it's really fun. So it's for people that are ready to step into that knowing and embrace their own knowing. And in addition to that, I'm a doula, so I'm offering remote doula services, and that can be support in whatever it is that a mother or a family feels like they need in this time. And there can be a lot of co-creation there too, from herbal support to nutrition to support to emotional support, energetic support, the whole gamut. It's a basket. And also a medicine making course for people that are interested in kind of taking things a little bit deeper with herbalism and learning how to make their own medicine and make their own remedies and diving in and playing with the herbs that they're utilizing a little bit more. And so maybe, I don't know how this is going to be loaded or if we can put links in there, but a direct way of getting a hold of me is amelia@listenherbalism.com.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll add anything we upload this to. We'll add the links to the Light Body Lifestyle, which is my website, and you can also add the others as well. And we'll make sure that anyone who is interested in reaching out or learning more or just having a phenomenal experience with you can definitely get a hold of you and explore more and learn more and expand more with you, which I highly, highly, highly encourage. I couldn't imagine anyone else if I was looking for doula services for sure. I mean, that you are, your energy is just so on point and considerate. And as long as I've known you, you've always been extremely centered and able to have a way of always considering it and reaching out to someone or holding space for others that's equal to the space that you know is yours. And that's one of the things I really respect about you. I very much appreciate that you always have this way of expanding the space around you to where everyone else feels equally seen and heard and understood and safe. And I really cherish that about you.
Thank you, love.
You're welcome.
That means so much coming from you. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Well, Well, she's speaking the truth, sister. Well, again, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so, so, so much for this connect, and your just willingness to speak your heart and share your wisdom and your journey. And maybe we'll do it again sometime. And for now, we'll just say namaste and tune in for some more goodness. Love, light, speak. Bye, sister.
Aloha.